The absence of pockets in women's clothing, particularly shirts, is a curious phenomenon. While men's attire often boasts an array of practical pockets, women's clothing frequently lacks this basic functionality. This discrepancy is not merely a design oversight, but rather a reflection of historical trends, evolving gender roles, and cultural norms. By understanding the historical context and cultural influences, we can gain insights into why women's shirts often lack this seemingly basic feature. The aim is to illuminate the complex interplay of factors that have led to the pocket gap and to consider the implications for both fashion and gender equality. To understand the lack of pockets in women's attire, we must delve into the historical evolution of fashion. In earlier centuries, both men and women utilized pockets as essential receptacles for carrying personal items. However, as fashion evolved, a distinction began to emerge between men's and women's clothing, with pockets gradually becoming integrated into men's attire while disappearing from women's. During the 18th and 19th centuries, women's fashion shifted towards form-fitting silhouettes, which restricted the inclusion of bulky pockets. Instead, women relied on reticules, small handbags often adorned with intricate embroidery or beading, to carry their belongings. As women's clothing became increasingly elaborate and decorative, pockets were deemed cumbersome and detrimental to the desired aesthetic. This historical shift marked the beginning of the pocket disparity that persists in various forms to this day. The gradual disappearance of pockets from women's clothing coincided with the reinforcement of traditional gender roles. As men ventured into the public sphere for work and social engagements, their clothing retained practical pockets to accommodate their belongings. Women, largely confined to the domestic realm, were not expected to require the same level of functionality in their attire. The rise of the handbag further solidified this division, becoming an indispensable accessory for women to carry their personal items. The association of handbags with femininity became so ingrained that carrying a purse was often seen as an inherent aspect of being a woman. Consequently, the lack of pockets in women's clothing was not only accepted, but also perpetuated by the widespread adoption of handbags as both a fashion statement and a practical necessity. In contemporary fashion, the debate over pockets in women's clothing continues, reflecting the ongoing tension between aesthetics and functionality. While some designers have embraced practicality, incorporating spacious and well-placed pockets into their designs, many still prioritize aesthetics, perpetuating the tradition of pocketless women's attire. The persistence of pocketless designs can be attributed to several factors, including traditional tailoring techniques and the enduring association of handbags with femininity and style. However, there is a growing movement advocating for greater practicality in women's clothing. Many women are challenging the notion that they must sacrifice functionality for fashion. This shift in consumer demand is prompting some designers to rethink traditional approaches, incorporating functional pockets into their designs without compromising on style. The lack of pockets in women's clothing, once a seemingly trivial matter, has become a topic of increasing scrutiny and debate. What was once accepted as the norm is now being challenged as women demand greater practicality and functionality in their attire. The future of women's wear appears to be moving towards a greater balance between aesthetics and functionality. While handbags will undoubtedly remain a staple accessory, the increasing demand for pockets in women's clothing suggests a shift towards greater practicality and inclusivity in design. This change is driven not only by consumer demand, but also by a growing recognition within the fashion industry that women deserve clothing that is both stylish and functional. And perhaps in this future, the question of why women's shirts lack pockets will finally become a relic of the past.